you doing? Tino here. You know, I really love my job. I really, really do. But sometimes I hate it. I hate it to high heaven, I tell you. Days like today. Okay, now I had a private lesson today. Housewife, mid-30s. She came in, and right when she sat down, you know, I noticed that she had this scar under her right arm. And I didn't mention it during the class, but as she was about to leave, she turns to me and she says, "Tina, do you want to know what happened to my eye?" And I said, "Well, you know, I didn't want to press, but if you want to tell me, sure, yeah. What happened to your eye?" And she says, "Well, my husband threw me down a flight of stairs." I was like, "Damn. He just threw you down a flight of stairs?" I asked her, right? And she's like, "Well, no, first he slapped me, and then he threw me down the flight of stairs. That's how I got the scar on my eye." I was like, damn. Family, I didn't know what to say. I really, really didn't. She then told me, "Don't worry about it, you know. It's okay. It's a normal thing at my house." And she said, "I'll see you next week." And she left. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, fam. I really, really didn't. You know, but while she was telling me this, I just started having these flashbacks to when I was a kid. I was about 11, 12 years old. I had this friend. His name was Rodney. He lived a couple houses down from us. He had a little brother. And their father was African American. Mother is Vietnamese. And one day, Rodney, he comes running up to our house, right? And he just runs in the front door and he comes to my room and he says, "Tino, Tino, Tino, you gotta help me, you gotta help me." I'm like, "What happened?" He said, "Come on, you gotta come to my house." So we run out the house. I don't even have any shoes on. I'm in my socks, right? So we run to his house, and right when we walk into the door, between the couch and the coffee table was his mother. I mean, she was laying on her side and she wasn't moving. I look at the house, I mean, it is ramsacked. I mean, the living room was just a mess, right? Broken furniture, just broken glass all over the place. You can see utensils on the floor. And then I was like, damn, what the hell happened? I said, "Dude, we gotta call the police. We gotta call the police." He said, No, don't call the police." He says, "Okay, I'll call my aunt. Don't worry about it. You gotta help me with my mother." And I'm like, "Dude, she's bleeding." Fam, I tell you, Rodney's mother, I mean, she had bruises on her face. She was bleeding. There were gashes in her arm. They looked like defensive wounds because they were just slashes all like this. I looked to the floor and I see one of those big ass spatulas that they have, you know, they use for when you barbecue hamburgers and stuff. It was laying on the floor. It was all bent up, right? And I was like, "What the hell happened, dude?" And he's like, "It was my dad." I was like, "It was your dad?" I was like, "Well, where's your dad at?" He left. Apparently, his father beat the shit out of his wife, right? And just left her there. He just booked. And I said, "Man, we gotta call the police or something." He said, No, don't worry about it. My aunt's gonna be here in a minute. Just help me get her into the bathroom." We tried to pick his mother up. Okay, she's bleeding all over the place, and she's a mess, right? So we pick her up, and she's this little tiny woman. She's about the same size as my mother, right? So we pick her up and we take her into the bathroom. He starts to run the water. And he says, "Okay, all right, Tina, you can go now. Just let me do this by myself." The little brother's outside, right? Rodney's little brother's outside crying and stuff like that. And I tell him, I said, "Hey man, why don't you come to my house, okay? Just come and play with us. I want to hurry up and get home so I can tell my mother, right?" So I take him by the hand and we go to my house. And as we're walking to my house, I see his aunt pulling up, and she's speeding up, right? And she speeds up to the house, she stops, and she runs in the house. So okay, help is here. So I figure we can go back. So I take Riley's little brother, and we go up back to the house, right? At that time, fam, we're in the house, and his aunt is crying, and she's like, well, where's your father? Where's your father? At that moment, Pops comes back. I'm in the house holding the little brother's hand, and Pops comes back, and he looks at me, and he's, without skipping a beat, he says, hey, Gino, what's up? I said, hey, Mr. Johnson, how you doing? And he said, all right. Like nothing happened, family. Like nothing happened. He just starts walking over shit, right? And he goes back to the back where his sister and his wife is in the bathtub now. And I hear him talking in the bathroom, and the sister's like, what have you done? What have you done, right? And Pop says, why are you getting all upset? She's just a nip. And I was like, oh shit. I'm out of here. I gotta get out of here. You know what? It was the first time I ever seen anything like that before in my life. And I was just a kid. That traumatized me for the rest of my life. Sad to say, that wasn't the first time he did that on a regular basis. He would whip the shit out of his wife. And they called the police a couple of times, and the police would come down and talk to him, but they never arrested him. You know, that was a trippy thing. They never arrested this guy, right? I'm pretty sure that the laws regarding domestic violence and abuse and battery have changed since then. But I was just so confused why this dude is not in prison, right? The police would come, talk to him, and that's it. You know, they would just leave. I didn't understand that. And I used to tell my mother, I said, Mom, I mean, we need to do something. And she's like, there's nothing we can do about that, son. There's nothing we can do about them. You're just going to let the police handle that. There's nothing we can do. Pops was away. He was on the ship. And I was waiting for him to come back so he could beat his ass, right? When he did come home, and then I started to tell, you know, Pops what was going on. Pops was saying, now see, look, Tino, you have to understand that he's going through a lot of stuff right now, you know. Apparently, they were both in Vietnam. My dad was Navy, Mr. Johnson was Army, and for some weird reason, my father felt something for this guy. You know, he felt sorry for him. He felt as if he had to help him in another way, but he really couldn't do anything for the situation. Okay, now soon after that, Mr. Johnson, he was on a motorcycle, and he had an accident, a very, very bad accident. He broke like maybe half the bones in his body, right? His right or his left eye was removed. They couldn't save that. And what surprised me most of all is this woman who would be constantly beat by this guy, right? She would drive to the hospital every day to take care of him. I really didn't understand that, you know. When he got out of the hospital, he was paralyzed. He could no longer use his legs. He was in a wheelchair. And his wife had to basically just take care of him for the rest of his life, you know. Okay, now Mr. Johnson, he got what he deserved, you know. Karma is a bitch. I tell you that straight up, you know. So he did get what he deserved. But I'm thinking about this student of mine, you know. And I can't understand why women stay with abusive men. What is that, you know? How can that be? How can that happen? Why do women continue to stay with men who beat them? I do not understand that, family. I really, really don't. I mean, if you, as a man, have to put your hands on a woman, you don't need to be with her. You really, really don't. You need to remedy that situation and get out. There is never, ever, ever a reason why a man should ever put his hands on a woman. You know, it's just something that you don't do. You need to take sorry ass motherfuckers like that, put them on an island and blow that shit up. You really, really do. Because men should never ever touch women in that way. In a violent way like that? Oh, hell no. You know? My mother used to say, Tino, if you ever put your hand on a woman that way, I'll kill you. I will kill you myself. I brought you into this world and I can take you out. Don't you ever, ever put your hands on a woman. Don't do it. And you know, family, just like women all over the world, they say the same thing. It's all right. Don't worry about it. I can handle this. It's okay. Don't need to bother yourself. It's normal. Okay? And I hear this woman today, she's saying the same thing. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't trouble yourself about it. That's how I hear it. But see, she put me in a situation where I got to think about this now. I'm thinking about going over to her house, looking for this dude, and just beating the shit out of him, right? But I can't do that. I get caught. They'll catch me, you know, and I'll just ruin my life. So it's like, what can we do, family? You know, we can't just sit back and watch. You know, what is it that we can do to help people like this? You know, the choices are very few, I'm sure. But there has to be something that we can do to remedy this situation, you know? All right, man, I'm sorry to bring the heavy on you, but I just needed to talk about this. I just needed to get this out, see what you guys think about it, okay? I'm not going to go and look for dude. I'm not going to do that. You know, I wouldn't put myself in a situation like that. But I do want to help this woman. I want to be there for her to you know, just to listen, you know. But anyway, get at me, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. And as always, I will go back to my other channel, and I will get back to your comments and make a video response to that, okay? I love you guys. Like I said, I'm sorry for the heavy, but I just wanted to share this with you, okay? I love you. Peace.